Good morning. This is B. A. Nagesh. I'm a retired civil servant, MA in Political Science, International Relations, and Public Administration. Today, we continue the analysis of the 2019 PSIR paper. So, we have taken up for discussion PSIR Paper 1, Section B. We have covered sufficient questions in the last week. Today, continuing the discussion, we take up a topic in the chapter Principal Organs of Government PMO, the Prime Minister's Office. See the question which has come in 2019 for 15 marks. The PMO has emerged as the most powerful institution in India. Discuss. It's a very factual question. So in this we'll have to structure our answer into our introduction, then how the office of the PMO emerged, how it has developed, why it has become more important. Then we have a brief conclusion. See, basically, what I advise students who take PSIR as an optional is the inbuilt advantage they have with reference to general studies. So, a candidate who opts for PSIR as an optional, he can write better answers in the General Studies 2 paper, and he is placed at a different footing compared to the others. The quality of answers is better from a candidate who prepares for the PSIR optional. The stuff is better, and your answers in GS2 will be a grade higher than the general candidate. So, with this brief introduction, we go to the discussion on the question. The PMO has emerged as the most powerful institution in India. Discuss in 150 words, 15 marks. Now, we have taken the parliamentary form of government from UK. In the parliamentary form of government, we have the Council of Ministers headed by the Prime Minister, who are responsible to the lower house of Parliament. And in the parliamentary form of government, the Prime Minister has a crucial role or a central role in its functioning. In the parliamentary system, the PM is described as the first among equals, a moon among the stars, and the sun around which the solar system revolves. These are the epithets used to describe the Prime Minister. You see, when you see the working of the parliamentary form of government, the parliamentary form of government, we have the emergence of the cabinet government, the overall dominance of the Prime Minister and the cabinet. Now, cabinet government has become prime ministerial government, and it is slowly emerging as a prime-dential system. When I say prime-dential system, I mean just like how the American presidential system is working. Slowly, the prime ministerial government is becoming prime-dential government, that is akin to the presidential form. With this brief introduction on the concept of prime ministerial government, we go into how the office of PMO emerged. So first, we have to see the influence of the British parliamentary practices. It was widely recognized that the Prime Minister required a backend office. So British practices influenced our country also. It was during Jawaharlal Nehru's time we had the emergence of the Principal Personal Secretary, the PPS. Now, the PPS was a key figure who attended all cabinet meetings, who had access to all government documents. So, this was the beginning. During Lal Bahadur Shastri's time, we have the emergence of an office as such, that is, a secretariat. During Mrs. Indira Gandhi's time, the PMO emerges as a think tank, policy planner, and parallel center of authority. This is the most important thing because the PMO, the real beginnings of the PMO, a powerful PMO, emerges during Mrs. Gandhi's time. During P.V. Narasimha Rao's time, there is one more improvement in the sense that apart from being the center of authority, the PMO being the center of authority, the Prime Minister holds charge of several ministries. This trend continues further. Now, during the Vajpayee government, PMO continued to be the all-powerful authority, and the Modi regime has seen the PMO as the hub of decision making. So, in brief, we saw how the office of the PMO evolved from being from a single functionary like the PPS in Nehru's time to a small secretariat in Shastriji's time, then slowly going on to becoming a center of authority in Mrs. Gandhi's time. Then during Narasimha Rao's time, a new feature of the PM being in charge of several departments. Next, we see how the PMO is playing a dominant role. When we say the PMO has emerged as the most powerful institution, first we saw the historical development of the office. Now, what is the status of the PMO? The PMO is mentioned in the rules of business, Government of India rules of business. It is given the status of a department. Now, what does the PMO do? It assists the PM in the discharge of his functions, responsibilities, is in charge of public relations, liaisoning with the President, Vice President, Governors of states, Chief Ministers of states. Then all important appointments are screened by the PMO. Important departments which are headed directly by the Prime Minister, Department of Space, Atomic Energy, Public Personnel and Pensions, then Defense, Preparedness, Internal Security. These are the departments which are handled directly by the Prime Minister. As I told you, this holding independent charge of ministers, it owes its genesis to the period of P.V. Narasimha Rao. Later on, it has become an established convention. Then the PMO is also in charge of PM National Relief Fund, that is PM CARES, and the National Defence Fund Crisis Management. So much for the functions of the PMO. So when you answer a question which seeks information on the PMO as the most powerful institution, first we give a very brief synopsis of how the office emerged. Then again we highlight its functions, multifaceted functions, and how a large number of functions are added to the PMO, thereby it becoming a major, most powerful institution in the country. Now the PMO, from a small organization, it has become a powerful center of governance. How has it become a powerful center of governance? When elections are held once in 5 years, parliamentary election is actually the election of the Prime Minister. Much depends on the personality of the PM, personality of the candidate. That holds the sway, it swings votes in the favor of the personality who later on becomes the PM. Concentration of power in the PM and the PMO. As I said earlier, we had the cabinet form of government, the cabinet form of government. Ultimately, it has become the prime ministerial form of government. So PM and PMO are the nerve center of power, the focus of power. Dilution in the functions of the cabinet secretariat. See earlier the cabinet had its own prominence. We have the cabinet secretary, the cabinet secretariat attached to the cabinet, which is responsible for policy formulation. Now gradually what has happened after the PMO has becoming more powerful, there is an eclipse in the functions of the Cabinet Secretariat. Now, what does the PM do? He does the balancing act between the PMO and the Cabinet Secretariat. So, there is a balancing act between both the wings, that is the PMO and the Cabinet Secretariat. Ultimately, how the PMO functions, how it is seen by the public, how strong is the democratic functioning, all this ultimately whittles down to the personality of the Prime Minister. So this is how we have analyzed the question on the PMO emerging as the most powerful institution in India. As I said, this is a very general question, very factual question. It doesn't require any analysis, it doesn't require any extra inputs apart from what you have read. So we analyzed our question with an introduction by showing how cabinet government has become prime ministerial government and how now the trend is to call it as presidential system. That is, the prime ministerial government almost having the factors of the presidential form of government, like in the US. Then, in brief, we spoke of the emergence of the office of the PMO. We said how during Nehru's time it was just a PPS. Then the structure getting a shape during Lal Bahadur Shastri's time. Then during Mrs. Gandhi's time, how it became a permanent secretariat, how it became the center of authority. Then how during Narasimha Raw's time it became, lot of independent departments coming under the control of the PM. This trend continues. And during Vajpayee's government and the present Modi regime, how the PMO has become a center of decision making and the center of power. Because this is because of its multifaceted functions. You take all top appointments to the government of India, appointment of governors, appointment of other political personalities to statutory bodies, regulatory bodies. All these come through the PMO. Then the PMO, how it links liaisons between the president, vice president, governors. Then how it is having a multifaceted role, right from party meetings, then monitoring the performance of various departments, monitoring the implementation of government schemes, and how certain important departments are placed directly under the control of the Prime Minister, like the Department of Space, Atomic Energy, Ministry of Personnel and Pensions, Defense Preparedness, Internal Security, PM National Relief Fund, PM CARES, National Defense Fund, Crisis Management. So the number of functions, the responsibilities, they go on adding, making the PMO and the incumbent the most powerful institution in India. Finally, I concluded my answer by pointing out how, from a small organization during from Jawaharlal Nehru's time to the present, how it has become a powerful center of governance. This is because cabinet government has become prime ministerial government. All power is concentrated in the PM and PMO, and how the cabinet secretariat has been robbed of its importance and its dominant role earlier, and how PM dons the balancing act between the PMO and the cabinet secretariat. Ultimately, with a powerful PMO, much depends on the incumbent, much depends on the personality of the PM, who is responsible for democratic functioning of the setup. This is in brief a discussion on the topic PMO, which is mentioned in the syllabus under Principal Organs of Government, Paper 1, Section B. Thank you.